Okay, quick disclaimer before we jump into this review of the Tribe game. All the opinions that you're about to hear are the thoughts of the Tribe.co.uk and are not affiliated at all with Cloud9 or the creators of the Tribe, and it is protected under fair use policy. For 20 odd years, the fandom have conceptualized what the perfect components of a game based on the Tribe would entail. There are 3 such components that the majority have concluded would encapsulate the spirit of the show within a video game format. These 3 features are: 1. A component based on The Sims, where you're able to design your own character and engage with the Mallrats socially and romantically. 2. A feature where you are able to trade with or attack other tribes. And 3. The ability to discover and explore Tribe World while scavenging for food and resources. Although the Tribe game does indeed feature all 3 of these most necessary and lauded features, unfortunately it also fails at all 3 simultaneously. Let's begin with the game engine itself, which utilises the long-running RPG Maker program, which is extremely well known on the Steam platform. RPG Maker allows fans, enthusiasts and many developers to create their own RPGs with a relatively easy to delve into interface and a variety of preset features for ease of creation. Just a quick look at Steam will inform you that in order to stand out from the crowd, developers have to create an extensive amount of customized content beyond the preset components of the base program in order to draw in potential customers. RPG Maker, for all of its initial ease and accessibility, is also very dated without extensive or additional programming, and this certainly shows within the Tribe game. Usability and functionality are very stilted. Maneuvering your character, selecting items, combat, and we won't even talk about the awful farming functionality. It's also extremely poorly designed and structured that it often borders on frustration. Even the most basic mobile and indie games on the market, regardless of their overall playability, have solved these basic functional issues. And we need to mention the extensive array of bugs and issues. Everything from sudden crashes, to the equip menu malfunctioning, to the character creation screen freezing, to quests being stuck because you accidentally pressed a different button to escape another conversation to trigger the continuation is closed off. Yes, I've encountered one and all. Ultimately, the engine informs the full scope of what can be accomplished with this game, and it is as limited as you can expect. Customization is at the core of any would-be Tribe game, and its key feature is severely lacking. Despite the tease of being able to create your own character, you are only really provided with a handful of options on hair, clothing and a tribal makeup, in order to try and define your avatar. It's discounting those styles already featured in the Mallrats or extended cast themselves, and those options amount to even less. But you could even forgive the lack of individual customization if it meant that you could immerse yourself within Tribe World, right? Well, good luck with that. Though I must give the developers a heck of a lot of praise for the gorgeous individual character artwork alongside the work done on the mall itself. Everything else seems to be designed to restrict that immersion as much as possible. Poorly designed quests ferret you from one unrecognisable area to the next without you able to explore or traverse a fully realised map. Whilst the map assets themselves are preloaded features of the game engine, sprinkle a few photoshopped graffiti images onto an asset. And meanwhile, the most immersible location of all, the mall, is very restricted in both its layout and scope of use. The game thrusts you into the show as a stray who encounters the Mallrats as they have just formed, in an alternate universe style setting, and the game's storyline playing out rather differently. But storyline is pushing the term quite broadly. As I mentioned before, it is just a series of short fetch and scavenging quests with a few set pieces of story interconnected now and again in order to serve as background for, yeah, you guessed it, even more fetch and scavenging quests. That is the bulk of the so-called gameplay. The remainder is comprised of the RPG Maker's namesake, the RPG combat itself. Having played many games based on this engine and seen what fully customized and coded components can do with it, the combat mechanics utilized for the Tribe game are extremely mediocre and disappointing. Again, even the most basic mobile phone games have better mechanics and playability for the combat engines. You can attack, guard and utilize combat, i.e. skills, in order to buff yourself or debuff your opponents. But it is also very basic. It's just been done so much better in other games. Instead of individual characters having specialised roles, i.e. Lex being a fighter, Tyson and Dal being healers, and Ryan being a tank, etc., the standard roles you'd see in an RPG game, here you're mostly engaged with combat on your own, with no real character pathway or progression. The skills toted by the game consist of nothing more than skills utilised for farming and more scavenging, which, if you haven't worked out by now, are the most basic and frustrating parts of the game itself. For all the scripted nature of the areas and the quests, it is confusing why they did not go for more of a group combat, where you can fight alongside the Mallrats and have a more fully realised character creation trees and progression. So the functionality, playability and gameplay are all very disappointing, but what about the other components? Well, the concept of trading is also very non-existent. You're not able to go online and trade items with other fans. You can't design your own tribe styles and have them using like a global market where you can trade with other users to get their own styles. So yeah, what is trading actually used for? Well, trading, or the term of trading, is just fetch this item and give it to this character. That is pretty much it. There is not even like a small in-game economy where you could say trade 10 chamomile leaves for a specific item that you needed to advance a quest. Again, I was not personally expecting this. It just goes to show how limited this game is compared to pretty much every other mobile and indie game out there on the market. And there just seems to be a lot of weird choices made in the development process of this game, even beyond the mechanics. Though some might etch a smile at that manifestation of Tribe Master, a phantom ghost-like guide who instructs you on the use of the game's mechanics, it just adds to the overall blend of oddness. And you have to ask yourself, how is this accessible for new players to the game? And it serves very little for veterans of the show either. And some of the character writing, especially Tyson and Celine, is so extremely off that it really throws you for a loop. And minor spoiler warning coming up, but there's also some really even more odder inclusions within the game, including some of the auxiliary Cloud9 shows that seem to surface within this storyline, and it just confuses things even more, which again go back to the point of how accessible is this for newcomers to the game. Even as a veteran myself, it was extremely odd. But it all can't be bad, right? Somewhat. I mean, the light does shine in a few small areas. As I touched on briefly before, the artwork for the characters are first class. A lot of work definitely went into their design, featuring several different stances depending on a character's emotional state, which helps to lift the entire game and its immersion. And this immersion is also further aided by the music, which is taken straight out of the show itself. Barring a few weird choices which have somehow sneaked into the game. So, as a lifelong fan of the Tribe, it is extremely hard to reconcile what we got with what we have always dreamed of. But even judging the game based on what it has presented, it just falls so short in itself, let alone that dream. So in summary, left behind in the wake of its peers in a sea of incredible mobile and indie games, the Tribe game is simply decades out of touch, with poor functionality and gameplay which just does not justify its price tag.